My head.
Later. We need to move on.
Kapitel 6 Villa der Hawkins. Pierce erwachte in einer Anstalt im Keller des Riverside-Instituts. Dort traf er auf Dr. Colden, eine Freundin von Bradley, die ihm zur Flucht verhalf. Er durchstreifte den Ort, an dem Dr. Fuller uneingeschränkt herrscht, und konnte mit einem Mann namens Francis Sanders sprechen. Bevor er vor den Augen des Detektivs starb, beschuldigte er Sarah Hawkins als Grund für seine Qualen. Schließlich verließ Pierce gemeinsam mit Bradley und Colden das verfluchte Gebäude. Die drei Verbündeten beschlossen, in der Villa der Hawkins Unterschlupf zu suchen.
Who goes there? That nightmare again. I need a drink.
Aha, jetzt bin ich wieder da. Da redet wer über mich.
You're awake, Mr. Pierce. How do you feel?
Did I sleep long?
The day is only starting. It's fine.
How's our fugitive? Dr. Fuller hasn't reported your disappearance to the force, but that'll come soon.
Bradley?
Who else would it be?
Mr. Pierce, are you all right? You look like you saw a ghost.
There are things I can't explain.
Tell us. What happened?
I met a Francis Sanders. Do you know him?
Of course, he's a patient. Or was. I haven't seen him since Dr. Fuller had him transferred to the basement.
He knew Sarah Hawkins, and that's what killed him.
What? How did he die?
I'm not sure I can explain it.
Tell me how Mr. Sanders died.
I didn't see what, but something was there, with us.
Of what do you speak?
Sanders said it was Sarah Hawkins' visitor. He spoke of it like a living being.
Sarah Hawkins? Have I missed something here? This makes no sense. I don't see how it can help crack the Hawkins case.
You really think she's involved? How could she have murdered Mr. Sanders?
Francis Sanders mentioned Mrs. Hawkins just before dying. It's no coincidence.
You know, Francis Sanders was a well-known art collector. I guess you can still pay a visit to his wife, Irene Sanders.
An art collector, you say? That's probably how they met.
If you plan on having dinner at the Sanders household, please spare the widow the tale of her late husband's suffering.
I don't agree. She deserves the truth.
But that truth may be biased. We don't know the bottom of it.
He's right. We can't ignore the truth.
But it could drive her mad.
Better madness than ignorance. Very well. I'll go to see Francis's widow. Perhaps I'll find a link between her husband's death and Sarah Hawkins.
Don't end up in the hospital this time.
I'll do my best.
Gut, was haben wir denn da? Okay. Wohnsitz der Sanders, Kapitel 6. Pierce und Colden und Bradley beschlossen, den Fall Sarah Hawkins gemeinsam zu lösen. Sie haben eine neue Spur, der sie nachgehen. Francis Sanders, ein Kunstsammler und Freund der Malerin, der direkt vor Pierce starb. Detektiv geht zu dessen Haus, um mit seiner Witwe über den Schlurfer zu sprechen, den der Mann vor seinem Tod erwähnte. Ja, da bin ich aber gespannt.
What can I do for you, sir?
Mrs. Sanders? I'm a private detective. We must talk about your husband and his ties to Sarah Hawkins. Can I come in?
You may. However, before we go any further, please know that my husband died yesterday.
That is precisely what brings me here.
Well, well, look who's here.
Die schon wieder.
You know each other.
Our paths crossed, briefly. The brave detective has a talent for sticking his nose into my business.
I bump into her every time I'm investigating someone's death.
It's a small island, Detective. My island. It's better that it's you bumping into me.
You're investigating Francis' death. Why? Who hired you?
I spoke to Francis before he died. His story suggests a link to a case I'm working on.
Well, since this business has got nothing to do with me, I'll be in your husband's office, Irene. We'll carry on later.
Very well,
see,
Miss
my
Baker. This way, Mr. Pierce. And do make yourself comfortable. It would seem that you have much to tell me. May I inquire as to when you had the opportunity to talk to my husband?
Yesterday, I met him at the hospital. He spoke to me about Sarah Hawkins.
Oh, of course he spoke to you about her. That's all he talked about. Sarah Hawkins and her paintings. Please forgive my tone. The fact is that I have not been allowed to see him since he was interned. You, on the other hand, a perfect stranger, were able to see him and even talk with him the day he died. How was he? Were you present when he had this attack? What happened?
I expected to find you more grief-stricken than this by the death of your husband.
I do not like the tone of your allusion, sir. I had long months to weep every tear in my body, and to accept, if not my fate, at least that of my husband. And so I'm sorry to disappoint you if you're expecting more hysteria and grieving widow in my voice. Rest assured, however, my anger is real. I need to understand. How could this happen? In a reputed institute? And right before your eyes. Did you not do anything to help him?
It's terrible what happened to your husband, but I had nothing to do with it. I was injured, and I came across him in the hospital quite by chance.
Injured? Well, I'm delighted to see you in such fine fettle, Detective. Not everybody enjoyed such a prompt recovery.
I suppose Fuller does do miracles now and again.
Luck is obviously very kind to you. Oh, I'm tired, Mr. Pierce. I would be grateful if you could tell me what you expect of me, and then leave.
Aha, was tut Cat hier? Das wäre interessant, gell?
Did your husband talk to you about Sarah Hawkins' visitor? A shambler, to use his precise terms.
Well, you can imagine that's all he talked about. It's exhibited at the center of the gallery. No better place for the painting that endowed him with the privilege of such a shameful and miserable end to his life.
Hold on. The Shambler is a painting by Sarah Hawkins.
Who else to paint such horrors? Take a look for yourself, if you feel so inclined.
It is my only lead at this stage. I suppose I have nothing to lose.
Then you have paid no heed. For my part, I refuse to set foot in that gallery again. But if you're so eager to see it...
Thank you, Mrs. Sanders. I won't be long. The day the Shambler came into the Sanders' lives. Francis Sanders and Sarah Hawkins were close. Friends, even? Sanders' accession register. He wrote beside the Shambler, "Finally." What did Sarah Hawkins fear so much that she didn't want to sell the painting? A house of artists. He finally won. Was Sanders aware of his imminent doom? She first refused to sell the painting. How did that make her feel? Was she jealous of Sarah Hawkins? The Shambler. I need to see it.
Okay, und wo ist jetzt die Galerie?
Let's see what this cylinder has to say once it's inserted in a phonograph.
Okay, kannst du das abspielen? Ah, da kann man es abspielen.
Irene, I made a mistake. I fear that it might be too late for me. Nobody should enter, except to burn everything. I never had the courage. Pay somebody to do it. He's inside my head. I see him behind my eyelids each time I shut my eyes. I can't take anymore. I can't hold him back. Forgive me.
That accursed gallery. Those accursed paintings. That accursed Sarah.
Na. Okay, ich glaube, das haben wir.
A strange Amerindian pendant. I could use one of those.
Nochmal Schatten dabei.
Strange. For months, Sarah Hawkins refused to part with her painting, to finally give it away for nothing.
Liebe Francis, ich bitte dich, die Hoffnung aufzugeben, jemals dieses Fluchtgemälde zu besitzen. Wenn du unserer Freundschaft auch den kleinsten Funken Bedeutung zuschreibst, dann erspare mir die Last der Schuld. Ich kann nicht die Schöpferin deines Untergangs sein. Ich bitte dich, mein lieber Freund, vergiss den Schlurfer. Deine Freundin Sarah Hawkins.
An old diary.
That's twice you've stepped on my toes, Detective. Try not to make a habit of it.
I've got a lot of bad habits.
Some can be more fatal than others. What have you come looking for in this gallery?
Another painting by Sarah Hawkins. One connected to the horrors I've discovered on this island.
What a surprise. I'm listening.
And you? What brings you to the Sanders home?
I'm here on business. Irene asked me to liquidate all these paintings. She doesn't intend to hang around here for long.
Why you?
Believe it or not, there aren't many collectors on Darkwater. It needs someone with a network, and a means of transport to the mainland. A choice that comes down to Fitzroy and me. And I'm far more pleasant, wouldn't you say?
Ja, genau. Ach, kann man schon wieder so viel verteilen. Jo. Gut, dann gehen wir rein. Ist ja ein richtiges Museum da herinnen.
These artifacts date from pre-Columbian times. The man transformed an entire wing of his manor into an art gallery.
Ja, ja, da ist er schon. Mehr Öl. Und schauen wir uns vorher noch weiter um.
Why was he so interested in old weapons?